Hey guys, so I am just enjoying an absolutely beautiful view this morning. I got to take in the sunrise, which was great. It's really always fun just kind of basking in the creation and all that. But I I wanted to chat this morning about Christianity, the sorry, I haven't had caffeine this morning, so my mind is running a little slow. But Christianity and the idea that, back to the idea that the Bible is a perfect and holy text and all that kind of stuff. One thing to keep in mind is that, if you're feeling doubts about your faith or anything like that, it is solely up to you, I think, to explore those doubts in your own way. And the reason why I say that is because, in Christianity, there tends to be this idea of that, childlike faith don't really ask questions, just accept what we're telling you. And obviously you can read the Bible for yourself and kind of come up with your own decisions and all that stuff, but something that's important to note is that, even the books of the New Testament, which, oh, look at that bald eagle, wow, isn't that beautiful? That's a treat. That's an absolute treat. Wow. Anyways, so the books of the New Testament, which is what a lot of Christianity is based off of, not really the old law, but the new law, the law after Jesus died on the cross, right? The thing that shocked me, because I never looked into this until I started researching the faith and all that. Not researching the faith, but just looking at the Bible, the thing that shocked me is that a lot of the books from, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all that stuff, they weren't written while Jesus was going through all of his stuff. They weren't even written shortly after it. If you look at all of the books of the Bible, they were written sometimes 100 years. I think like John is like 90 to 100 years after Jesus had already died on the cross and had left. And to me, that's kind of like sus, because, that means that this information is just floating around in people's minds and in maybe smaller documents or whatever, or word of mouth essentially for 100 years, sometimes 110, 120 years, which is half of the age of the United States, before it actually got written down and produced into a book that was put into the Bible, and that's something that you can check out if you want. You can just do a Google search and do a little bit of research to find out when each individual book was written. But I want to say Acts was written like maybe 50 years after the death on the cross and all that. And so anyways, so that was kind of an eye-opener to me, because it's like you're essentially working off of word of mouth and the memories of a whole bunch of people who remembered what he went through, right? And you have all of these people trying to remember what he taught, trying to remember what he said, and so many of these things, it's like, kind of going back to this idea that I've, posted about a couple of times, where it's like, you can't always be 1000% certain that the Bible is perfect in its entirety, and all the writings and all of that. And so anyways, that was just something that that popped into my head last night that I felt that God wanted me to speak about this morning. But the other thing too is that, you know, in Christianity, it's one of those things where it can't be the only truth for the entire planet. One, you know, I just think when you go out on a crystal clear night sky and you look at the stars and you consider the galaxies and you consider absolutely everything that exists, you go out in nature, God is way too big, way too massive to be encompassed by any one single religion, you know? The thing is, religion is a man-made thing, you know? Jesus came, did his stuff, disrupted the religions, and then after almost 100 years of him being gone, you know, kind of like asking, you know, your parents about stories that your grandparents, you know, grew up with, you know. You tell me about this guy that your grandparents knew. I can't tell you about anybody that my grandparents know, you know. But it's just like, you know, the thing is that when you consider how vast, and especially once you start studying all the sciences and stuff, it's like there's just no way that the creator that created absolutely everything on this planet has such a limited mentality and such a separatist mentality when it comes to to his creation. Oh, there's another golden eagle. Wow, this is a beautiful morning. And it's just, the thing is, it's like, you know, there's so many like even in Adam and Eve, the story of Adam and Eve, whenever I'll have to look for that. I'll probably make another video about it, but there were after the garden, you know, Cain and Abel and that whole situation after he killed his brother. I forget, there was somewhere where it said that, you know, essentially he was going to send Cain off to the lands of somewhere else to go live with some other people. But it was like, wait, what? Should I? No, I don't have enough time to do that right now. I really want to look that up. But if you look, where was Cain sent after he murdered his brother, you'll see that, you know, in the Bible it says, like, yeah, he went to go live with these other people. What other people? You know? Like, what? So, but yeah, that's why for me it's like, and these are things that you don't ask about, right? In Christianity, you don't ask about them. You don't ask your pastor. You don't dig into it. You don't try to get to the bottom of things because, you know, that's seen as bad. You're not firm in your faith and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is that doing that work is what makes you firm in your faith. Going out, doing the legwork, you know, trying to find the information, that's what makes a person firm in their faith. And for me, that's the reason why I never 100% felt firm in my faith, you know? I guess technically if you want to go down the route, whenever I was a kid, maybe between the years of, you know, 9 years old and 13 years old, I was very firm in my faith. You know, because you had to go based off of belief and all that jazz. And, you know, I'm not here to get into that discussion, but the thing is, it's just when you consider all of that information about the New Testament not having been written till almost 100 years after Christ died on the cross, and just everything about the inconsistencies in the Bible, it really dethrones this idea that the Bible is perfect in its writing, which is what a lot of Protestant churches kind of rely on. I'm not 100% sure about Catholic churches. I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised Baptist, so I'm not 100% sure with what their beliefs are on the perfect scriptures that are inspired by God kind of thing. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you this morning, and leave you with the idea that, throughout the Bible, even though God loves everybody unconditionally, he's always had his separate people separate from everybody else, to the Jews first, then also to the Gentiles, right? This idea that, God had his salvation and he sent his son to his people first, and his own received him not. And so then he went out to the Gentiles, right? And it's just, there's so many, that's just a very human thing. When you consider God, when you consider the universe, when you consider the vastness of creation, you can see where just a lot of very human ideas have made their way into the Bible and stuff. And that's why for me, I just don't believe that the Bible is a perfect text, and it's a perfect text inspired by God and all that. Obviously, it's a historical document, because when you look at the flood and you got you have the ark sitting on Ararat, and then you have a whole bunch of Native Americans with stories about great floods and stuff throughout their lands. It's not something that anybody is arguing. Well, not one that I'm, obviously plenty of people are arguing it, but it's not something that I'm arguing against. But the thing is, it should be taken more of a historical text versus a perfect document. That's how that's what God has led me to. I have such a better connection with God now than I've ever had in my life before. I have the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, kindness, long-suffering, all of that. I get to embody those every single day easily. It doesn't require any effort for me to embody those. It doesn't require any effort for me to be loving and kind to everybody, now that I've found God for myself, And for me, it's outside of Christianity. For you, it may be in Christianity. I'm not here to tell you that Christianity is the wrong way to go. I don't think there is a wrong way to go. But I'm simply here to tell you that the idea that Christianity is the only way to go, and it's the perfect way to go, is just not realistic. All right, love you guys. See y'all later. Isn't it pretty cool with the eagles? Wasn't that pretty awesome? Just 2 eagles flying by? That was pretty cool.